So tell me, how can load balancing specifically help enhance the patient experience? If I'm a healthcare provider, I'm thinking about, you approach me and stuff like that and want to talk to me about load balancing. I know the benefits, I work it as well, but how can we best get that across to them so they get a good understanding, high level?
Well, the thing about load balancing in a healthcare environment is that a lot of the applications run in sort of healthcare providers' environments are going to be mission critical. They're going to need to be up. Maybe they're going to be something like a medical imaging, like a PACS environment, or maybe it's going to be a virtual desktop environment.
Yeah.
What the load balancers do is they ensure that these applications have uptime. It ensures that there's a good flow between all the information, and it ensures that, for instance, radiology is a great example. One of the key things that interrupts radiologists is their workflow being interrupted.
Okay, yeah.
It might just be an image not loading, an image not being sent to the correct place, and that gives them a lot of trouble, because some of these radiologists have to look through hundreds of images a day, and they can be really critical injuries people are having. People could be waiting on surgeries. And as you can imagine, if the images aren't being sent or the application isn't running, it can cause quite a lot of trouble for the hospital in general, as the radiologist might not be able to give their analysis down to the surgeon. And it causes a backlog, and that's not good for patients, because obviously they're going to be waiting longer, and it's not good for the workers as well. So what the load balancer does is it actually performs sort of what we call health checks to ensure that these application servers which they're being run on are healthy. And that means that the applications are running smoothly the whole time, meaning that the doctors can do their work, so the patients can have a better sort of patient experience as they're not waiting for so long. So it's not really the load balancer that is the hero of the story itself. It just facilitates all of the applications that sort of obviously this healthcare.
I get you, because that's not something that, obviously I've been in hospital myself and been in a situation where I've had to go through appendix, and I was in a lot of pain. And the second time I went, it was for a twisted bowel. Both times I had to take x-rays, and it's not something that I really considered how it was actually working before I kind of moved to this sector to understand what PACS was and how that was actually working. But I definitely saw the fact is that they went in, did the radiographs or took the pictures of my body, and then 5 minutes later they're in scrubs and coming upstairs to take me into surgery. So having a good understanding that load balancing is helping that occur is definitely great for me, and definitely gives me a better insight into what's going on for these guys, because it is very important. Because like the clinician said at the time, when he came back to my bed, he goes, if you hadn't come into the hospital and you'd gone home to sleep, that would have been it. But just thinking about if he couldn't have got the information that he needed and the importance of that, what could have been the result? They could have sent me back home, given me more drugs, and delayed that from actually happening. So it's really good that we're helping patients. Maybe it's not something they see or realize, but it's definitely one for them to understand, really, that we are in there to help, and get that experience. And I'm definitely thankful.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we work in so many different sectors, but in the healthcare world, sort of running of applications is obviously mission critical, because it can be life and death. We always say that's the most extreme example, but it is true. But also it can be smaller things like waiting times in hospitals, where a lot of people, especially in the UK, everyone knows, it's not a secret that in the NHS there's going to be long waiting times. And a lot of that can be attributed sometimes to sort of different parts of the hospital waiting on information to be shared between each other before they can move the patient to the next step. And again, it might not be someone that's needing a life or death surgery after a car crash, but say what the load balancer does, just ensure that workflow around the hospital, just to reduce waiting times, and just give a better experience in general.